What's up, everybody? I'm Wyatt Bagnall.
Taylor Wallerstein.
And today we are continuing on with breaking down the schedules and predicting them. Last time we did the AFC West and the AFC East. Go check that video out. Today we're doing the AFC North and the AFC South. Before we get into that, do me a huge favor. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It helps out the channel a ton. Would really appreciate it.
And I'll give you a little kiss.
Well, now they're going to hit the dislike button. So with that being said, we're going to break into the AFC South and AFC North. We're going to start with the South because I think this one's going to go by a little bit faster.
Sure.
And the AFC North is one of the most interesting divisions in football, so wouldn't mind sort of building up into it. All right, so let's go with the AFC South. Where do you want to start?
I guess we'll start with I guess technically three of the teams have a new quarterback, but I'll start
potentially three, definitely two.
Potentially three, but definitely two. Let's start with Houston.
All right, let's start with Houston.
Yeah, and then we'll go to Colts.
Okay, cool. So, the Houston Texans, they start off their season, I think, with a nice, resounding loss in Baltimore.
Yeah, I agree. As much as I want to say Ravens take the L week one.
I mean,
anything can happen.
You can hope, but I just don't think Houston's the team to do it.
I wouldn't.
Baltimore plays a fairly safe style of football, especially early in the year. I don't think Houston gets it.
I wouldn't put money down.
Week 2, I do think that week 2 they beat Indy.
I think I'll go Indy.
Fair enough.
I'll go Indy.
I'll get into why I think Indy loses that game when we break them down.
Sure.
But it essentially... Actually, I can just do it now. I think that early in the year, it's going to be a bigger learning curve for Anthony Richardson than it is for C.J. Stroud.
Sure.
And I think the first time they play, C.J. Stroud is just a little better adjusted right away.
Sure.
And does it. If Anthony Richardson comes out looking like a superstar, obviously that's different.
Mm-hmm.
But I think early on, he takes more lumps than C.J. Stroud does.
That's fair.
So I think that they get the first game between rookies.
That's fair. It's a tough one. Honestly, I think it could go either way. Personally, I'm giving the edge to the Colts. Strictly not I'm taking the quarterback out of it. They're both rookies, so I'll say even ground. I will. Yeah, obviously, C.J. Stroud's a little bit more polished of a prospect than Anthony Richardson is. I don't know, but something about having Jonathan Taylor on that roster, having that consistent, and honestly, the team's not built to win in this day and age in the NFL, but they are built, I think, a little bit more structurally sound than Houston.
They're further along than the Texans are.
Exactly. So I'll give them. I could easily see this be kind of a split thing where they go 1-1.
That's exactly what I have.
Yeah.
I think that the first couple weeks, Anthony Richardson has to get it under him.
Sure.
And I think C.J. Stroud just eases in a little more.
Sure.
So that's why I got that. Week 3, I think they lose in Jacksonville.
Yeah, Jacksonville. I mean, again, they still got to prove it to us this year, but I'm fairly confident.
I feel safe with that.
Yeah, I think that they can. I think they're way more put together than Houston. And,
yep.
I trust Trevor Lawrence more than I trust the rookie quarterback right now.
Definitely. Week 4, they have Pittsburgh, lose.
Yeah, Pittsburgh is right in the ship right now.
Yeah. At Atlanta, I think this game's closer, but I do think they still lose it. I just think Atlanta is 1 year ahead in the rebuild than Houston is.
Exactly. I feel it's kind of the same thing with the Colts. They're not anything special right now, but they are a little bit more structurally sound.
Yep. All right, New Orleans, I think they lose. I think New Orleans might not be an elite team, but they're a team that's going to have a good defense, and Derek Carr is a steady hand, and I think that's enough to beat a team that is just frankly not that talented right now.
Yeah, it's almost going to be boring for some of these AFC South teams because we're really not going to disagree or anything. But, I think the Saints are just they're a more decent team.
I'll put one caveat on this. The only thing that could make the Texans better than we think, and this is possible, D'Amico Ryans really knows how to coach defense, and if Will Anderson is really good right away, that can be sort of a force multiplier on the Texans' defense, and they can steal one from a team like New Orleans, Atlanta, or any of those teams where it's they're not going to be that offensively potent, probably.
But if they can wreck a game plan with Will Anderson, then that can definitely swing some of the
that
teams.
Can steal a game. They're just a year away, or a year or two away from really being in it. And then week 7 they got the bye week, so I got them going 1-5 into the bye.
Yeah, I think I have them 1-5 as well. Right?
No, you got them 0-6.
0-6.
Yeah, you got them 0-6 into the bye.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Coming out of the bye, I think they lose in Carolina. Because I think for the same reason, I think Bryce Young is better than C.J. Stroud. I think the Panthers are a team. Their roster is actually built to be decent.
Right.
And as long as he's not awful, they're actually going to be not like elite or anything, but they will be good.
Yeah, I think
So I think they lose in Carolina.
Same thing. I mean, it's I don't think it's going to be anything like significant. It's not going to be like a blowout or anything. But what the Panthers did in preparation for bringing in Bryce Young after they made that trade, bringing in a lot of role players, a lot of guys who can kind of bridge the gap until they start bringing in more of those.
Next offseason, they'll take a nice step.
Exactly. So I think the Panthers pull it off strictly because how you put it. I think Bryce Young is better than C.J. Stroud. I think that's obvious by the way that they went in the draft. And you got the it's going to be a fun opportunity to watch the first and second overall picks go against each other, which is always a fun time.
We're going to see all of them play each other this year.
Which is cool.
Yeah, which is rare. One of the things I love about the AFC South, you're never going to get a more clear picture of which of them worked and which didn't, because 3 of them were in the same division. Right. And then Bryce Young's on the other side. But here, Houston, good news for you. I think you beat Tampa Bay in Week 9. I just don't think Tampa Bay has it.
I think Tampa Bay has got it more than...
Well, here's why I'll give it to them. Tampa Bay looked hapless enough last year with Tom Brady.
Sure.
Baker Mayfield's not that. Kyle Trask is not that. And Houston, even though they lose games, always were hanging in tough.
Yeah.
I think that their toughness beats Tampa Bay.
I'm going to give it to Tampa Bay still, so I've yet to give them...
Damn, Houston!
I'm sorry, Houston.
I think I know we're... Well, listen, I know that Week 10, you're not picking them to beat Cincinnati.
No chance, so you're going
10.
You're going
not
9-10.
really.
Yeah.
I got Cincinnati winning that, so they're 0-9 for you. I got them at 2-8.
Yep.
And then I think they beat Arizona again.
I'll give them the Arizona win, so they get their first win Week 11 from me.
Oh, God. Week 12, they lose again to Jacksonville.
Yeah, Jacksonville gets the sweep.
Yeah. They're not... Denver beats them. You had Denver beating them last time.
Yeah, no, I don't think I could argue that one, to be honest, even though I really want to for fun.
You'd love to?
Yeah.
They're just not there.
No, I think Denver gets a free one.
In New York at the Jets, no dice. They don't win.
I think Jets win.
Nope. In Tennessee, nope.
Yeah, I think Tennessee's better right now, and I trust Tannehill, especially now that D-Hop's on that roster, and they have they could have a potent offense.
I'll say this because they played Tennessee twice late in the year. My only caveat to this is, say Tannehill gets hurt like he did last year, or the season's just not going Tennessee's way, and they just put Will Levis in. Yeah. I still would pick Tennessee because I just think they're better, and I love Vrabel as a coach.
And they're going to run the hell out of that ball with Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
With the rookie quarterback.
But if the rookie quarterback just isn't playing well, you could always drop a game.
Yeah.
But as currently constituted, if everything works out and nobody gets a huge injury somewhere, I think they lose at Tennessee.
Yeah.
I think they also lose to Cleveland.
Yeah. It would be funny, to be completely honest with you, if the Deshaun Watson replacement...
It'd be funny.
Deshaun Watson. You know what? Fuck it. You beat the Browns. I give you a nice, interesting win that you probably can't pull off, but if you pull it off, I will crown C.J. Stroud as Rookie of the Year.
Fair enough. My logic on it is very, very simple. Even if Deshaun Watson isn't playing great in that game, Nick Chubb will, and Myles Garrett will, and everything else they bring will. So I just think Cleveland's just better than them. Week 17, I say they split with Tennessee because I think around this point in the year, we have seen C.J. Stroud round into a little bit better form.
Sure.
And I can't rule out the possibility Will Levis is playing. So I say that they get a split with Tennessee. I don't say that confidently. Part of me just wanted to give them more than 3 wins because I really like DeMeco Ryans. I think the Texans are on the right track.
Right.
It's just not this year.
Yeah.
This is the year they blew it up.
Yeah, and I don't mean to say that this team is terrible in making the right calls with these, unable to get a win. It's just... It's not a good team just yet. They're on the right track. They brought in the pieces that they needed to. I like the DeMeco Ryans hire, and I don't feel it's going to be... I think they've got the faith in DeMeco Ryans to let it ride a little bit.
They definitely won't. The last 2 contracts they gave out were like 1 and 2 years each. DeMeco Ryans' contract was like 6 years.
Yeah, and again, I like DeMeco Ryans, and I love that he got his guy in Will Anderson. I think that's a really good combo that could work out really well in the future. I'm going to go with the Titans sweep.
It's fair.
Because in my opinion, I have Tannehill and the Titans fighting... Kind of how it was last year, but reversed.
Yeah, this is one that, with the D-Hop signing, I'm pondering the switch, but I am also willing to say that it's a distinct possibility that just didn't go their way. Will Levis is playing, and you just never know, so I'm willing to give them the split.
And that's fine.
And I also say they split with Indy. I think in Indianapolis at the end of the year, Anthony Richardson has rounded into form, and they beat Houston.
I'll give them the split that they pull it off the last one of the week. So they lose to. I'll have them lose at first, and then after C.J. Stroud kind of gets a little bit more comfortable with it. They kind of find some groove of what they like to do. They're just not getting the wins yet.
Yep.
I do think that, looking at both of the rebuilds of Indy and Houston, I kind of like Houston's better because Houston definitely kind of has a feeling of what they're doing, and it is kind of something in the modern NFL as opposed to the Colts. Like, yeah, great, you got your quarterback who is, one of those talented guys that everybody's talking about potential and everything.
If it works, he's Josh Allen. If he doesn't, it's awful.
Right, and I understand that, but the problem is Josh Allen wasn't really able to figure it out until you get him a true wide receiver one. And I like Alec Pierce.
It was also 3 years in.
Yeah, and I like Michael Pittman. I still don't see this Colts roster as one that's built to win in this day and age.
If they got Hopkins, that would have worked a lot.
Absolutely, and you know what? I think they probably should have reached out, and this is just one more time that the Colts refuse to bring in a true wide receiver one. And it's kind of it's honestly interesting at this point. It's like, when are you going to do it?
Well, now
it's getting Packers level annoying.
Now we're talking about Indy. We're going to just move right on to them.
Sure.
They exist to me in a similar space to New England, which is, I just don't get the philosophy and the approach right now.
Yeah.
They're building a team. I've said this many times. They're building a team for the old school era. And while I think the old school era of football is the better era of football, it is not.
It's not where we're at.
It's not where we're at right now. And they just don't bring in weapons.
Yep.
They don't do it at all. And they have a lot of good players, but here's what I will say though. If Anthony Richardson is just good right away, I think this team is good.
Sure.
I don't think. Listen, I think Jacksonville wins this division, but I'm not going to be. If you were to tell me with the team that just falls off is Jacksonville, I'm not going to be surprised.
Yeah, I think it's possible. They are hit and miss as of right now. Like we both said, prove it again, and then we'll start talking about you as in you're going to win your division again. You're going to win your division again. So.
Yep. And so speaking of that, they start off with Jacksonville at home. I think they lose to Jacksonville.
I agree.
In Houston, I got them losing.
I have them winning.
Yep. I got them losing in Baltimore.
Yeah, they lose.
I think they beat the Rams.
I actually was going to say the same thing.
Yeah. So I got them starting off 1-3.
Yep.
They lose against
2-2.
They lose against Tennessee.
Yep.
I think they lose at Jacksonville.
Yep.
They lose to Cleveland.
Yep.
They lose to New Orleans.
Yep.
I think, again, same reason. They lose to Carolina.
Yep.
And I think they lose to New England.
I think they could beat New England.
Fair enough.
I think both of them are similar enough that whoever has the better week that week can, just happen to be a matter of circumstance. So.
All right. So
I think
going
out
into
of all the teams we just ran through, I think that's the best chance they have to win, other than the Rams and the Texans.
Yep. So going into Week 11, I've got them 1-9 for their bye week. You've got them 3-6. 3-6.
Yeah.
All right. And then coming out of the bye week, I say they beat Tampa Bay.
I think it's possible, but I'm going to go ahead and give it to Tampa again.
I think they win in Tennessee because I think they've started rounding form and they can play power football, but they have more guys than Tennessee right now.
I'm going to keep it with Tennessee.
Fair enough. Yeah. They lose to Cincinnati and they lose to Pittsburgh.
Agreed.
They beat Atlanta, they beat Las Vegas, and they beat Houston.
Yeah, I think that's likely.
So I think even after a really slow start, they finish the season 6-11.
Yeah, I've got them 6-11 too, just different wins.
Yep. Because I think Anthony Richardson starts off stumbling. Then around that halfway point, I think it starts in the New England game, but they don't win it.
Yeah.
Is when they really figure out what to do. And coming out of that, they got an easier run down the stretch, and they get good momentum into the offseason where they get a better idea of what they need to fix.
Yeah, and I'm just going to hammer it home one more time. What they need to fix is getting a true wide receiver one in that room. And I like Pittman. I like Pierce. I think Pierce is a great slot guy. And I like Pittman as a quality too. If Pittman comes out and balls out as a wide receiver one, that's complete. I think it's completely possible. Especially now that he's got a quarterback who has a little bit more of that talent you're looking for. But personally, I think that is a great wide receiver 2 and a 3. If you bring in a 1, whoever it is, whether it's a trade candidate, or it's after this offseason in free agency or in the draft. I think this team could be a lot better, and if they aren't making that change, they're never really going to figure it out.
They need a level set guy where you put him in, everybody slides into their more natural role, and you feel a lot better about how everything looks. I think Indy's an offseason away from being a playoff contender. I think
they're a good offseason away.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
That's always whenever you say anybody's an offseason away, you tend to do it under the context of they do the common sense things.
Well,
but I will say
the reason why I say it for the Colts is because they refuse to do the common sense things.
Yeah. But I think that right about now, Chris Ballard's also probably feeling the pressure for his job.
Yeah.
And I think that they might be forced to do some more aggressive things than he would want to, and I think that's probably for the better.
Yeah.
All right, Tennessee or Jacksonville?
We'll go Tennessee.
All right. Week 1 at New Orleans, I think the Titans beat the Saints.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think they also beat the Chargers in Week 2 because the Chargers, it doesn't matter if they're better than you in terms of talent. They are not a physical football team and have never been able to stop the run or any team that wants to beat them that way, and they always beat them. I'm going to say they beat the Chargers.
I think it's entirely possible, but I'm going to go ahead and give it to the Chargers because I keep being completely and hopelessly optimistic that Herbert is going to be able to just make up for everything wrong on that team.
He makes up for a lot of things. My problem isn't with the Chargers offense in this one, it's the Chargers defense. Yeah. They are not a physical bunch.
Yeah, and Brandon Staley, for some reason, cannot defend against the run, so... And when you got a running back like Derrick
Henry, the Chargers can just never do it. I can't think of the last time the Chargers were anywhere other than like the bottom third of the league in run defense.
Yeah, and when you got a running back like Derrick Henry, I mean, it's just so easy to take advantage of that kind of stuff, and it wears down the defense. And if you get, it gets to a point of, if you get 1 to 2 stops on Justin Herbert just because something didn't go right, drop pass, big hits, something along those lines.
Yep.
You are able to take that game. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Titans do pull it off.
I'm not shocked either way. This is just one of those games where I'm like, the Chargers just never win this game.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to Herbert strictly because congratulations on the massive deal. Now we can pay Burrow.
Go fishing, buddy.
Yeah, go have some fun.
He loves fishing.
He's a good guy.
He's a great guy.
I love the guy. I
root for the guy. I went into this offseason saying I am not buying into them until I see it, and God damn it, I'm not.
And that's completely fair, and I respect your willpower. I continue to give it to Herbert because I want him to do well and succeed. Man, Herbert on Miami, dude, that would be fantastic.
That'd be great.
Especially now, but that's wishful thinking.
Back to the Titans. Yeah. In Cleveland, I think the Browns beat them because I think they play the same style of football, but the Browns are just better than them.
Yeah, I think... Oh, God, I wanna say Titans.
I want to say Titans, but the problem... I mean...
All right, fine. You know what? I'll say Titans.
Go for it.
Titans pulled off.
Okay, so we both have them at 2-1 to start the year. Mm-hmm. They lose in Cincinnati. They lose against Cincinnati.
Sorry.
They beat Indy.
Yeah.
They lose to Baltimore.
Yeah.
That's another example.
That's tough.
That's the point in the year Baltimore's still healthy.
Yeah.
They're just better.
Yeah, all right, I'll give it to Baltimore. I would like to say Titans, but I think Baltimore does get that one.
But it is what it is. Yeah. So going into their Week 7 bye, I got them 3-3.
Yeah, I got 3-3 as well.
All right.
If I remember.
Coming out of the bye, they play Atlanta. I got them beating Atlanta.
Yeah.
Losing to Pittsburgh.
I think that one's interesting. Well,
I think it's interesting.
I definitely it more revolves around the Steelers' offense than it does their defense. I do think that they're going to be vastly improved. They did make some good moves for the O-line, and I do think Kenny Pickett is not a terrible quarterback, but I do need to see.
No, of course, but I don't.
See some improvement. George, I'll give it to the Titans on this one. I'm going to say they roll off of Derrick Henry and just kind of a little bit more consistent offense, and it's a low-scoring game.
Here's my logic for that game. The Titans purged a lot of players this offseason, including along their offensive line and some guys in their defense. And Pittsburgh is just freaking Mr. Consistency.
Sure.
This is the exact type of game where if you can't run Pittsburgh out of that stadium or just blow them off the field with your offense, they'll probably beat you.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Titans are going to blow out anybody. I think almost all the games the Titans are in are knockdown, drag-out fights, and I think that's exactly where Pittsburgh wants you.
Yeah.
Because then you're asking their defense to win it, and their defense can win it. So I just think Pittsburgh gets it done. I do think that they go in, and if they're going to blow out anybody, it's Tampa Bay.
I think they beat the Steelers and ride that high, and I think they do beat the Buccaneers too.
All right. So going to Jacksonville, they lose in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
All right. I think they lose to Carolina. But I think this is close. I just think that this comes down to, again, Carolina's better than people think.
Sure.
And while I think the Titans did a lot in terms of getting the level set guy where everything slides in nicely for them, this is also the point in the year where I think Carolina's probably playing. They've sort of fallen into sync with a lot of things.
Kind of figured it out a little bit how they want to run it.
Again, this just comes down to the issue of Derrick Henry dealt with injuries last year. Traylon Burks dealt with injuries last year. Ryan Tannehill dealt with injuries last year. Their O-line is worse. Their defense is getting a little bit iffy. I don't know. I think these are two teams that are of a similar level. I just think the way the Titans play football, which is very physical, starts to take a toll on them, and Carolina gets them.
Sure. I'll go with Titans on this one. I think a little bit more established team. I don't see a defense from the Panthers that is really anything too crazy, which is understandable right now. There are some good pieces there, but still figuring it out.
Yep.
Brian Burns is definitely a stud over there. So
definitely.
I think Titans pull it off, and maybe it's not as not as easy as a win, but I'll give the Titans a win on that one.
Fair enough. Indianapolis. I got basically all the AFC South teams mostly splitting other than Jacksonville. So I got this time they lose against Indy. I could see that going the other way, but I think that some of those teams are just in a clump. And I take the same approach I did last time. If they're in a clump, I just have them splitting.
Sure.
So I just have them doing that.
I'll give them the Colts sweep.
All right.
Yeah.
In Miami, lose. They can't.
Yeah.
Houston, win.
Yeah.
Seattle, I'd love to say this is a win, but I think Seattle gets them.
You do?
Yeah. Seattle will get them.
Okay.
Because Seattle is, I don't think they're an elite team, but they're a talented team.
Sure.
And Pete Carroll's a really good coach also. They can, if Derrick Henry just doesn't let them touch the ball, which is tough.
Yeah.
I don't know. Seattle just has more horses.
Yeah, I was going to say, it feels like they've got three kind of solid running backs that can just kind of plug and play depending on who's injured, who's playing well, go from there. Also bringing in, Jackson Smith and Ajuba.
Yep.
That works out great for him, too. I think quarterback-wise, Tannehill is better than Geno Smith, but with weapons...
They're the same tier.
It's relatively, it's not much better, but I like what I see from Tannehill a little bit more than Geno's got to do it another
This
year.
is also the time of the year where, depending on how Jacksonville is done, Tennessee could be playing Will Levis.
It's possible. But based on how I have their season going, I think they've got Tannehill in, and they're still playing for a wild card spot. Maybe they're not going to get it, but
they're alive for it.
They're alive for it.
That's fair.
I say I still think they lose against the Seahawks.
Yeah.
But I think they're still playing for a lot more.
I'm not saying Seattle blows them out.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I think the Titans, like I said, they're going to be in a lot of fights. I don't think there's a lot of teams out there that are going to blow out the Titans, but I just don't think Tennessee can do it to anybody else either. Like I said, I just got a lot of splits in here for the bottom three AFC South teams, so I'm saying Houston steals one off them. Mostly on the grounds that I'm not sure they're still alive for a wild card team, like a wild card at this point. I'd love them to be. I like the Titans. But I think that they sort of went into this offseason with the idea in mind of okay, there's some stuff here that needs to go.
Yeah.
And they sort of took themselves back a couple steps.
Sure.
And I think Houston can snag one off them.
Yeah. I think it's possible, but
I do think they beat Jacksonville Week 18.
Really?
Because there's always one game a year where Derrick Henry just runs all over them.
That is true.
So I'm just saying that's the last game of the year. The Titans go out giving everything they got. They empty the tank in Week 18, and they snag one off Jacksonville. Also, with any of these end-of-the-year games, especially teams I think could be in the playoffs, there's always a chance that their playoff spot's locked.
Yeah.
And so they're just okay.
Screw it.
Yeah, we're just not going to sit. We're not getting Trevor Lawrence hurt to play the Titans.
And that's perfectly fair. I think they pull off the sweep on the Texans, too. I think they're just a better team than both Indy and the Texans, so I'll give them that. And then I do have them actually losing the Jaguars again.
Yep.
Doesn't mean that Derrick Henry does run all over them, but I personally, and I'm not going to say this is a world-beating Jackson team all of a sudden, but I think I've got the faith that we are going to see it from them from a second year in a row, and especially with a lot of improvements. Calvin Ridley's now going to be eligible to play, which kind of also helps with setting the levels over at their wide receiver room. Trevor Lawrence, one more year, is going to be even better. I think this is kind of tight, or I think this is the moment where Titans realize we are at that 8-9, 9-8 moment where we're really not going to get much better than this, and it's time to we got our quarterback already, we got him at a discount.
The one thing that I'll say for the Titans that just makes them like a bit of a wild card, Vrabel to me, and some people will say Doug Peterson stuff like that, but Vrabel to me is far and away the best coach in this division.
I agree,
and that counts for something. I don't know which game it comes up in exactly, but they always punch above their weight. And they'll take down one of these teams. Like, if you were to tell me, for example, that... I'm just like, I'm going to pick a good team. If you were to tell me that, for example, on any given night, they were able to walk in and just beat up Cincinnati up with the run game, I wouldn't predict it. But I wouldn't be shocked by it because they've done it to Kansas City and Buffalo.
Right.
And, like, they can knock out Super Bowl contenders
They're a
without,
team.
like, being a great team.
Yeah.
They just zig when everyone zags and can just bully you. So they'll steal some games in here, definitely. It's just tough to pick it because I gotta see. This is a team that I gotta see them play, and then no doubt I'll be feeling a lot better about them because again, Vrabel's like, I love Vrabel. And I think he's awesome. I love the way the Titans are. I love the Titans' mentality.
Yep.
But they're kind of like the Colts in that is not how you win in the modern NFL.
Sure.
It's good to like steal a game or two off of a contender, but it's not good to consistently do it.
Yeah.
So ultimately, I've got Tennessee going 7-10. I think they're probably closer to 8-9 because they steal, or 9-8 because they steal one or two in there. I would have to look at it a lot more to really guess which one it is, because I think some of it will come like, okay, where in the other team's schedule are they catching the Titans? Because that can mean a lot. If you're coming off like a big battle against another contender already, and then you got to go play Tennessee, I don't love your odds.
That's tough.
Because Tennessee is perfect to just be like, oh, you're already tired? All right, we're not.
Yeah.
So.
No, and I agree with you completely. I think Vrabel, coaches that team very well, and the culture of that
freaking love him.
is fantastic.
Apparently, there's a rumor that if Bill Belichick ever leaves New England, they might try to poach Vrabel and bring him back home because he played there for a lot of years.
Yeah,
don't know that it'll happen. The other rumor is Gerard Mayo would replace Bill Belichick eventually.
Interesting,
but
that conversation is incredibly interesting to me, especially because I heard some rumors that he's on the hot seat this year, which I just think is BS.
I don't think he's on. I think that things are getting desperate in New England, but I heard that apparently there was a recent thing where Kraft sort of was like, he understands the situation where you got Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, the Dolphins are surging, the whole AFC in general is a monster. I think that there's some level of just understanding of where the Patriots are at in their life cycle.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. We'll talk. We can talk more about those teams at another date.
Yeah.
But let's get on to the Jaguars.
I will say I've got them 10-7 if the Jaguars take them finally out of the wild card position.
Who?
The Jaguars take Titans out of the wild card position. I think they don't make playoffs, but
I think they're a team that realistically is in it to the very end, but they're just not quite there.
Exactly, and I think this is kind of, they're competitive and they can hang, but and they're a well coached team, but
you're not going to beat them up.
Yeah, there's going to be a couple. Like they still need to make some changes. There's a couple pieces that need to be brought in. I mean, we need to see what Will Levis looks like, and I don't even know if we see that this year. It's possible.
And by the way, that's not a bad thing if they don't. The Titans are a team I sort of trust to manage the situation. The Titans manage situations really well.
Yep.
Again, anybody that ever played in New England has an emphasis on understanding the situation and understanding what your edges are.
Right.
And anybody from there is a really good self-scouter.
Yeah.
And they'll play to their strengths and not yours. Whereas a lot of other teams are just sort of like, this is what we do, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
The Titans have a way of doing things, which is physical and smash mouth. But they're not, it's very rare that they find themselves in a position to get like really taken advantage of.
Yeah.
Which, that's good to beat a lot of teams.
Yep.
I just think Tennessee, they took a very intentional step backwards when they culled some of like the veterans and stuff off their roster.
Right.
And I don't mind that move. I think it's a good way to get better is to just get worse and eat it for a year or two.
Sure.
But yeah, let's get on to Jacksonville.
Yeah.
So at Indy, I think they win in Indy.
Yep.
I think they get smoked by Kansas City.
I don't think they get smoked, but I think it's comfortably in hand for Kansas City. I don't think it's a crazy.
Granted, the game is in Jacksonville, and there's weird shit that happens in that stadium. But either way, I think Kansas City beats them.
Yeah, I think Kansas City just kind of proves again, it's really hard to doubt Kansas City until we get a reason to doubt them.
Yep, exactly.
So I'm gonna give credit where credit's due, and I think they. And
you'll see a trend with the teams that I have beating the Jaguars.
Yeah, and I think this is a good opportunity for. Jaguars are going to prove, look, we can kind of hang with these teams. Like, any given Sunday, if things go our way.
If they beat them, great.
We beat them. If they beat them, fantastic. Personally, I think maybe it's by a touchdown that they end up losing, but it's going to be a lot like the playoff game.
I'll say they beat them by 10.
Okay.
I think it's
that's
I think it's a double digit, but maybe not 14.
I think that's fair. I think 7 to 10 is a good range of like, hey, it was a couple of things go our right, or we execute our plan a little bit better. Maybe we are closer to winning that game.
Yeah.
But I think it's gonna be a lot like the playoff game where it was like, would it be nice if Jacksonville were to pull off this crazy win and beat Mahomes? Totally, but like, did anybody really?
But we're not there yet.
Like, even when they were only down by a touchdown,
I
they were
know.
driving. Like, did you really think it was gonna happen? So,
No, I did not.
exactly. So I think they proved they can hang with some of these Super Bowl contenders that they are going to be up against because they do have some.
They've got
some tests. They got some tests. So
Yep. Houston, win.
Yeah.
Atlanta, win.
Yep.
Buffalo, they lose.
I think Buffalo handles them a little bit better than the Chiefs, to be completely honest.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Indy, win.
Yeah.
In New Orleans, I think this is closer than people think because the Superdome's wild, but they still win.
Yeah, I think they pull it off.
Pittsburgh, I think they actually beat Pittsburgh.
I think they beat Pittsburgh too.
All right, so going into the bye, in their Week 9 bye, I've got them at 6-2.
Same.
All right, coming out of the bye, I think San Fran beats them.
Yeah, I think that's another one where it's like the upper echelon of teams is definitely that San Fran Bills, Chiefs. Bengals.
That's where I have a lot of their losses coming.
Yeah.
Is they play a lot of contenders, and I think Jacksonville's good.
I think they're scrappy.
But I think that they are one more. They need one or two more, like tweaks or like really blue chip players to come in before they can really do.
And who knows, by trade deadline there might be a killer piece that the Jaguars make a move for because at 6. I mean, for us, they'll be 5-2 at that point, going into Week 8. So who knows? Maybe they make a competitive like, hey, we're a piece away. Let's go get that piece kind of move from a team that's selling.
Yep.
I think it's possible, but I can't predict that right now. And to be honest, even if they did get that piece, I don't think that they would be able to beat the 49ers.
My thing with the 49ers against a lot of teams is they are the peak of what Tennessee would want to be, which is just a lot of defense, hits you really hard. They can run the ball on anybody, and they can throw the ball with essentially any quarterback, but that's always a little bit of a wild card, but odds are they can still throw it on you.
Yeah. Which, shout out to Brock Purdy, who got cleared for
not on the PUP list, which is great.
Fantastic. Because I thought that guy was getting Tommy John surgery, man.
Yeah. I'm happy he didn't, but essentially what this is Tennessee gives Jacksonville problems a lot. San Francisco is a more like hybrid and evolved version of Tennessee.
Yeah.
That's just better.
Yeah.
So I think they beat them.
Yep.
And then next week against Tennessee, I think Jacksonville wins this game. And then they sweep Houston.
Yep.
Cincinnati, they lose.
Yep.
I continue my trend of I think like the true Super Bowl contenders can beat them.
Yep.
Because I think that they're just a tier down. We should do that. We should do tiers for the teams. I think they're just a tier down of the Super Bowl contenders. They're not there yet, but they're good.
Yeah, they're going to be, in my opinion, I have them as a playoff contender, and if they had the easiest run ever into the Super Bowl, they could totally pull it off.
Yeah. It's possible, and just by their schedule, say they get the early season jump on Kansas City, because who knows? The first 2-ish, 3-ish weeks, some teams are working out the kinks.
Right.
You could get the jump on Kansas City.
I think so.
Say they get the jump on Kansas City and they get the jump on San Francisco out of the bye, and you just
would be crazy.
But listen, coming out of the bye week is a better time to play a team like that because you got more time to prep for them.
More time to prepare.
So say you get the jump on those two, right? Most of their schedule's fairly easy because it's the AFC and NFC South. They could get the number 1 seed just on strength of schedule if they are what people think they are.
Yeah, I think
so. It's possible that this runs through Jacksonville just on the fact that the other teams have tougher roads.
Yeah, and
not picking it, but it's possible.
Not picking it, but I'm definitely going to have my division winner parlays with Jacksonville now taking the division.
I might take one where it's not them, just because you never know.
Yeah, I might go Titans on 1 or 2.
We're all going
to
be pissed when it's the Texans.
Oh God, yeah.
Honestly, if it's the Texans, good on them.
I think I'm going to do an entire upset one where it's just like the ones that literally cannot be upset are going to be staying, and then the couple flex.
Problem is they can all be upset because at least one of these teams everyone thinks is good, ravaged by injuries every year.
Oh, it's possible.
All right, so let's continue. So they got them losing to Cincinnati.
Yep.
I actually have them getting beat by Cleveland too because the run team, the teams that play hard and run, Jacksonville just has a problem. And that's what Cleveland does. And I do think Deshaun Watson is better than he was last year. There was something to be said for the idea that the dude didn't play for a year and a half.
Well, of course.
So I think that they're better than people think they are. and they're in a similar-ish group with Jacksonville, but they play the style of football that Jacksonville just struggles with.
Yeah.
So I think that they get them. Just styles make fights.
Absolutely. I'm gonna give it to the Browns on this one too, but I'm actually gonna have them beat the Ravens. I think they.
I got the same thing.
No way.
Yep.
I think they split with the Browns and Ravens. They either beat the Browns and lose to the Ravens, or they lose to the Browns and beat the Ravens.
My philosophy on Baltimore is very simple. Baltimore is better than them, but by this point in the year, Baltimore's hurt.
Yeah.
Odell's out. Lamar's dealing with something. One of their running backs gets hurt. I think Baltimore's a team that has too many guys that just can't stay out there.
Yeah.
And I think at this point in the year, Baltimore
That's gonna be
is plagued
showing,
by it.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think Jacksonville gets them then. They also beat the hell out of Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
And I got them beating Carolina.
Yep.
And then they lose in Tennessee. They split with the Titans. The Titans, like I said, they just empty the tank and get them the last week of the year. Also very possible Jacksonville's just got everything clinched and it's not moving.
Yeah, I think
so.
I think that's possible. I'm going with the sweep, and I've got them on 1, 2, 3, 4.
I've got them 11-6. But it could be more because they'll probably steal one of the contender games that you just wouldn't favor them in, but they'll probably take one.
I got them 12-5.
Yep, I think they fall somewhere in that range.
Yeah,
unless they just really aren't what we think they are.
Yeah, I think this is a different Jags team. To be completely honest, maybe we are kind of highballing them a little bit. Maybe they do that classic Jags.
That's
stuff
why I threw in
games.
a Tennessee and a Cleveland loss.
Which
I'm
I think
like,
is fair.
they're going to drop one they shouldn't.
Which I think is fair. But it'll be interesting. I'm really big on T-Law and the Doug Peterson combo.
Me too. I like him.
I'm excited for Calvin Ridley to come back this year. But it is going to be kind of a similar thing.
What's he looking like after a year off?
2 years. Because he took it's like a year and a half because he left halfway through.
Yeah, for a mental thing. Yeah,
and then got a whole year suspension. So in the same way that we kind of gave Deshaun Watson that kind of thing of you don't know for a while, we don't know. Same thing with Calvin Ridley. However,
we see players that lose years not do well. Le'Veon Bell, same deal.
Yeah. But I think what's good about this team is that they've got enough quality depth wide receivers at the 2 and 3 position that having Calvin Ridley on that field will help the offense in general. And I like the ETN. I like ETN over there.
I like
he's got to stay healthy for sure. But I like what they're doing with him over there. So yeah, I think this is I think this is a better Jags team than we've seen even than 2018. And they're definitely making some moves. I mean, let me preface it with the defense is not as good as 2018.
I think that 2018 beats them. But
100%. But I would say that the offense is better than 2018.
Agreed. They're better by just virtue of Trevor Lawrence back there instead of Blake Bortles.
Absolutely.
So overall for the AFC South, I got Jags 11-6, Titans 7-10, Colts 5-12, Texans 4-13.
Yeah, I off the top of my head I can't remember my records, but it's,
you're fine. I think
I've 12-15 Jags, 10-7 Titans. I think I've got the Colts 6-10, and I've got the Texans at 3-14.
Yeah, they're low.
Yeah.
All right, so on to the AFC North, which is the exact opposite of the AFC South, where, in my opinion, to varying levels, all 4 of these teams have the potential to be quite good.
Yep. We're gonna go with Cleveland first.
Cleveland first?
Yep.
All right.
Finish with the Bengals.
Week 1. I think they get you in week 1.
Bullshit.
Listen, dude, I know you're not going to like that.
No, I know.
But week 1 is the time when things are weird. And here's my other reason. I have the same reason. I got, just a little preview, I got the same thing with my 49ers with some of these teams. Cincinnati, the last 2 years, does not start hot. They get hot.
Yeah.
I think that week 1 Cleveland gets them because they already have their thing with Cleveland. We know, and I'm not saying Cleveland's better than Cincinnati, but at the start of the year when everything's a little and Cincinnati tends to be like a momentum building team, I think Cleveland steals week 1 because week 1's weird, and Cleveland plays a safer style of football.
Yeah, I think it's something to keep in the back of your mind, especially because there is that just weird Cleveland thing that for some reason Joe Burrow and the Bengals have struggled against Cleveland multiple times, and finally got our first win against them last year after losing in embarrassing fashion on Monday Night Football on Halloween. Mm-hmm. So I do think I'm not going to say it's far-fetched and it's crazy and what are you talking about. I will say it's possible, but I'm going to give them the loss obviously. I think Cleveland has more kinks to be working out, especially week 1 against a divisional opponent, than we do. We've kind of started to hammer down what we're doing. Like we kind of, we brought in Orlando Brown. So like obviously we still had some issues on our own line. We've now I'm not gonna say they're completely fixed because you never freaking know.
I'm not gonna say they're completely fixed because Orlando Brown is a little overrated in some facets of his game.
I will say he's a little bit overrated, but he's better.
I'm not saying he's bad.
Right.
I'm saying he's not Trent Williams or something like that.
Exactly, and I'm not even saying the same thing. But I think he's a better bookend than what we had. And now that we're moving our other guy, which for some reason, Jonah Hill, not Jonah Hill.
I'll say this: no matter who's playing tackle in the Cleveland game, you're at a disadvantage because Myles Garrett's better than both of them.
And that's what we're gonna have to do. But I will say our offensive line's been better than it's ever been on paper.
Yep, agreed.
We have a lot of, and now that we've got a lot of consistency, with a couple of our guys in Karras, Cordell Volson and Alex Kappa, I think this is a better situation than last year when we started against the Steelers and we started against the Cowboys and we still had some stuff kind of working out and getting some shit together. To be honest, Joe Burrow was coming back from an appendectomy. So, to expect Joe Burrow to be insane Joe Burrow after a procedure like that was a little bit, in hindsight, kind of unfair on us.
Yeah.
However, it's Joe Burrow. We just love the guy and we're going to assume he's a superhero. Dude is a superhero. So I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to go with the Bengals. I wouldn't be surprised if it's an 0-1 start for us again because, we go into a division rivalry game and this is what we do. I will admit we are a momentum-building team, but I like to think that our momentum is going to keep going from the offseason, and I think a little bit of a humbling moment of losing to Kansas City is kind of what this team maybe possibly needed. Even though we're not acting humble, I will say...
Even though all evidence to the contrary, I'm choosing to believe it.
All evidence to the contrary, I'm going to have an optimistic approach for my team, and I say we get the win, but I will not look at you crazy for you saying this.
All right. Week 2, I think they lose in Pittsburgh.
I think Pittsburgh gets them too.
Yeah.
I really don't want to say it, but I like Pittsburgh this year.
Pittsburgh is so silently good.
Yep.
They're the opposite of you, where they're good and they don't say a damn thing.
Yeah, they just.
I do think they're less. I think they're less talented than you.
Right.
But they're a team that way too many people are sleeping on.
You cannot count them out.
Yep.
We couldn't count them out last year.
Yeah, exactly.
And now they're actually, I think, on the verge of being decent again. Not decent. They were decent last year.
Yeah.
I think actual contender.
I've noticed a really annoying trend going through this schedule. There are multiple teams that I think are good that have a bye week right before playing San Francisco. It's like, what is that? All right, week 3 Tennessee, I think they beat them.
Yeah, I think I said the same thing.
Yep, and then I got them beating Baltimore week 4 because I think I have them splitting, and same deal. I think Cleveland's more talented than Baltimore is.
Really?
Yeah, it's not much. I just think they play a similar style of football also.
Yeah.
I just think earlier in the year, Cleveland is better at it. Their great pieces are better than Baltimore's great pieces.
Yeah.
Baltimore might have more pieces, but Cleveland is another team that's sort of they're overlooked in some areas where they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And I think they beat them early.
I think I have it opposite. I think kind of what we were saying earlier, especially with the Ravens.
I split them also.
No, I think they get the split, but I think it's the opposite of. I think the Ravens at this point are just doing what the Ravens.
They're cooking it early in the year.
Exactly, they're healthy. They know what their strengths are, and they know what they're doing. So I think actually Cleveland's in the process of kind of figuring things out and letting Deshaun Watson kind of get a little bit more.
The other part of why I gave them this is with Cleveland and Baltimore, I split them and I just gave them each the home game.
Yeah, that's completely fair. I'm going situationally of the Ravens are going to be at this point looking like everybody's darling again, and they're going to be talking about Lamar MVP and all this BS.
At this point in the year, they might have the best offense in football.
Absolutely.
For about 3 more weeks.
For about 3 more weeks, exactly. So I think I'm going to give them the road win later in the year.
All right, that's fair.
Or, excuse me,
Yes, later in the year.
I'm going to give them the road win later in the year because I think that's when we're not talking about the Ravens as highly. I think this is kind of when Ravens are, they're sprinting at the beginning of a marathon.
Damn right they are. They come out and punch people in the mouth early.
Yep.
So I think we both have Cleveland 3-1 into the bye.
I have them 2-2.
Oh yeah, you got Cincinnati. So I got them 3-1. You got them 2-2. I think coming out of the bye, San Fran beats them because San Fran can stop the thing they do well.
Yeah. I think San Fran is going to frustrate them and get in their heads, and I think until San Fran proves otherwise, they're too talented. And if Brock Purdy is, actually at a position where he's going to be 100% going into the season, they're going to be a safe football team.
And it is tough to out-physical them.
Absolutely.
So, and I think Cleveland is not there to out-physical them.
Absolutely.
So I think this is the example of San Francisco can beat them at their own game and in another way.
Yeah.
So they just have more ways to do it, and I think they do, even coming out of the bye week.
Yep. Even after, I think I agree with you on that one.
All right. At Indy, I got them beating Indy.
Yeah.
And then winning in Indy, and then I got them going to Seattle and losing. Having to go to Seattle's a son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Not to mention, it's their second straight road game, too.
I'm going to go with the same thing. I'm not big on Deshaun Watson. I take everything out of it, the division rivalry, how I think of him as a person. I genuinely just don't see it. He had some talented moments with Houston, which I will completely recognize that, this was a elite level quarterback with the potential to grow. And
if he finds that again, some of these are going to switch.
If he finds that again, I think, holy crap, the AFC North is going to be even tougher
That's going to be a real pain in the ass.
Yeah, but personally, I don't think he gets to that. I don't think he gets back to there. I think
we'll see. I think Kevin Stefanski's on the hot seat.
I think Kevin Stefanski's on the hot seat and as well, but it won't be hot for much longer because he's going to be out of it.
Yeah, he's going to be out at the end of the year. I've got them later in the year. I've got them again splitting with Pittsburgh. I don't think Pittsburgh is overwhelmingly better than them. It's the same deal. I split them.
Cardinals, Ravens.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Sorry. Cardinals, easy win.
Cardinals, I think they pull off.
They lose in Baltimore.
And then I have them winning.
We flipped, yeah. And then Pittsburgh, I got them beating Pittsburgh just because, like I said, I think they're of a similar level.
Sure.
And Pittsburgh sometimes deals with some injuries too, depending on the year. So I think they beat Pittsburgh when they come to Cleveland.
I'm gonna say they pull off the Steelers split.
All right.
But then they lose to the Broncos next week.
I got the Broncos beating them too.
Yep.
They beat the Rams.
Yeah.
They beat the Jags.
I have the Jags winning.
Yep. They beat the Bears.
Yeah.
They beat the Texans.
Yeah.
Jets beat them.
I agree.
And then Bengals beat them.
Yeah.
The only way the Bengals don't. And technically, the Browns, I would have them sweeping the Bengals and yada, yada, yada. But it would not be because the Bengals are worse. It would be because the Bengals are set.
Yeah, and I can totally see that.
That's preface that. So if any Cincinnati fan would be like, oh, you would ever have them sweeping the Bengals, it's because they play them in the 2 weeks of the year when literally either everything's weird or nothing matters.
Exactly.
So
I think
that's the weirdest.
Unless we, I wouldn't be surprised if we actually bench our starters at that point too.
Yeah,
are locked in.
Because I'll give you a little preview. Unless you're fighting for seeding, I've got you very safely in the playoffs by the end of that.
Yeah, I was gonna say same thing. I'm comfortable in the fact that I think we're gonna be maybe first seed.
Anywhere I got them unless Jacksonville really is that good. I suspect Cincinnati's fighting anywhere for 3-1.
Yeah, and I think we actually play the Jaguars. So
yeah.
So
we'll see. Yeah,
but
I've got the split. But it's potentially Cleveland sweeps you just because of when the two games are.
Yeah, and that's personally why I have them winning week 1 is because I think the Bengals know there is an opportunity that we're going to be playing. When we play them at the end of the year.
My problem is I don't think it matters what teams know in week 1. If they don't do shit in the preseason, and all these teams frickin' come out rusty.
Yeah, no, and I get that for sure. And but personally, I think there's a little bit of a. If we are fighting for seeding at the end of the year,
you beat the shit out of them.
We beat the shit out of them. And I will also say that I think the narrative of Cleveland Browns fans running their mouths almost as bad as we are right now towards us because it's a mess. They're telling us 0 rings, and it's like, bro.
Neither do they.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen, there are two teams in that.
They have NFL champions.
Doesn't count.
Exactly.
Listen, if you're talking about rings, we are talking post-merger.
Yeah.
There's only 2 teams in that division that can talk shit about rings.
And it's the Ravens and Steelers.
Yeah, Steelers can flex all they want, too. Ravens have been around the shortest of all of you and already have 2.
Yeah.
So they can talk about no rings. I don't want to hear Browns fans talking ever.
That's the craziest part about it. I was literally they were like, oh, Elijah Moore's wearing 0 to make fun of Bengals fans for how many rings they have. I go, and
what about you?
And your franchise?
Yeah, not great.
Yeah.
By the way, the only players I want wearing 0 are cornerbacks for giving up 0 catches. That's the most cornerback number that's ever, or just defensive back number you've ever seen.
Well, wide receiver 2 0 drops.
Yeah, I get it,
It's
but
less cool.
I just think
It's less cool.
I just think the swagger of it belongs with defensive backs.
Sure.
Where it's like they would.
Unpopular opinion. I don't like 0.
I like 0 just because I like it in other sports. It depends on the team and
just-
stuff. Well,
it doesn't work for
I'll
me.
say it like this. I hate the rules of just how they change the numbers.
Yeah.
I think it was way
No, I
better.
agree.
I think it was
agree.
way better when like receivers you get 10 to 19 and then
Yep.
80 to 89.
When you graduate college, you throw on a tie and you
We are
start-
adults
you
now.
start dressing professionally.
Yeah,
Like, the
I
fact-
don't. I love that. Like, I think
Yeah.
some of those numbers are even cooler too. Like, I think 11 is cooler than 1.
Yeah,
I think
that's my
that,
lucky number.
Like, I think that numbers like take corners for instance, 21, 24, 25.
Yeah.
Those are awesome numbers to be wearing.
And safeties rocking the 40s. Like
Safeties at 43, 42. Don't love 41 or 40, but 42 and 43 I like.
44.
And then any number in the 30s is also bitching for a safety.
It depends. Like there are
31's
there's some
a great
numbers like no one's favorite number is 37, but like
No, that's the
33
guy that went undrafted.
Yeah, but 33.
33,
cool.
31's the best 30 number.
I like 31. I like 30. And I would say like even like 39 like is kind of cool.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I
yeah.
tend to just skew.
34.
I like 38
34.
also.
Yeah, I like 34.
But yeah,
Numbers.
yeah, we're talking numbers in this prediction video. We're off numbers now. Okay, Ravens or Steelers?
But I'm with you on that one. Let's go Steelers.
Steelers?
Actually, let's go Ravens.
Ravens. All right. Week 1, Houston, easy win.
Yeah.
Week 2, I think again, same reason for the Browns. I think they beat you because they come out of the gates fast and you start slow.
We beat them.
I know what you want. Yeah, I know. I know that. I just got the same logic of their
Sure.
team that does start fast,
That-
this is just where they catch you.
Dude, God, if we go 0-2 against division opponents at the beginning of the year, again,
I'm telling you right now, in my schedule thing for you, it doesn't prove to be a problem for you.
it's gonna be fun.
I just
but
think that
it would be one of those things where
it's just 2 teams at the wrong time for you.
yeah, and it's 2 more weeks like that. I was just like, God, I'm so excited for a win, and I've waited 2 more weeks, and we lost to division opponents, so you're gonna hear it. But
Yeah.
I have us winning.
All right, fair
yes,
enough.
Yeah.
Week 3, Indy, win.
Yep.
I got them losing in Cleveland.
I have them beating Cleveland.
Yep. I got them winning in Pittsburgh.
I think so too. I think this is kind of the point where they
This is where they are
overtake-
peaking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. In Tennessee, they win.
Yeah.
I think Detroit beats them.
Did I have Tennessee beating them?
I don't remember what you
I
had.
can't remember. I got.
I don't think so. You said you wanted them to.
Yes,
But you
yes,
gave
yes.
it to Baltimore.
I gave it to Baltimore
Yeah.
because again they're peaking at this point.
Yep. So I got Detroit.
I gotta write this shit down.
I got Detroit snagging them.
Yep.
They kicked the shit out of Arizona.
Yeah, it would be awesome if that wasn't the case, but I really don't think that's gonna.
I got them beating Seattle too because it's in Baltimore.
Yeah, I'll get. This is one of those Seattle like they just don't show up.
Nope.
Basically, and Ravens are. I think
They're
this
another
is-
team that's also just
I think this is the last-
They're just a disciplined team.
Yeah, I think this is the last time like they start really looking good. Week 9.
I have Week 10 being the last time that happens because I think the
Right.
Browns' physicality
Right.
starts to wear them down.
Right.
So I think they beat Cleveland, but this is where the wheels start to come off.
Yep.
You beat them in a Week 11. That's what I've got anyway. So see,
Yeah,
I'm not
I've
being.
Got, I've got them losing to the or. I have them beating the Browns. Or right? No. I had the beating
I don't
them
know.
early. I had them beating them early.
Yeah,
So
you have.
this
See,
is where-
Cleveland winning late.
This is where they lose to Cleveland.
Yep.
I have us sweeping them,
Okay.
and then I have them losing to the Chargers.
I got the Chargers beating them too. No, I got them beating the Chargers because I think this is the game Chargers choke.
Okay, and I think
Sure.
that's completely fair. I'm just gonna keep rolling with Herbert, and I'll eat my words after the season.
Fair enough. So going into the bye, I have them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got them 9-3 heading into the bye.
You have 9-3.
Yep.
I think I have them 5 and
You probably have
Five
them.
and
You
seven.
got. You probably have
Five,
1 or
seven.
2 less.
yeah 5 and 7.
Bye week and then week 14. Even though they're hurt, they're just better than the Rams.
Yeah, I think they pull it off.
All right. Then the wheels fall off. Jacksonville, they lose.
Yep.
San Francisco, they lose.
Yep.
Miami, they lose.
Yep.
Pittsburgh, they lose.
Yep, I agree.
So I got them ending on a 4-game skid,
Yep.
and they ultimately go.
Shit, I got them fucking sucking.
Yeah, but I also would argue that you have a pretty extreme bias here.
Absolutely, I do. I have them 6 and 11. Yep.
Something like
I
that.
don't have them winning again until, or I don't have them winning until after week 9.
I've got them going 10-7.
I have them, 6 and 11.
Yeah.
suck it, Baltimore.
Yeah, I wonder which one of us would be more right on that.
It could, honest to God, I feel like both are possible.
Unless they get hurt literally at the very start of the year, they will not have a losing record. They just won't make the playoffs.
Well, I think they get hurt around that kind of week. I think they start showing signs of being hurt week 8. I have them losing to the Lions.
I got them losing to the Lions.
So
I think that there are 2 points where they could potentially start to get worn down.
Mm-hmm.
Here's part of why I had them losing to Detroit. Even if they beat Tennessee, Tennessee's going to take its toll on them.
Yeah, it's a physical game.
So I think that could be where it starts, and then I think Cleveland, same deal. I think one of these two teams that bludgeons you will start to wear down Baltimore.
Yeah, I think they bounce back to the Cardinals, but I think they lose they beat the Seahawks, but it's like by the skin of their teeth. They're barely pulling it together because they are a well coached team. It is a good culture. Harbaugh's not the problem. So I do think that they end up being relatively like floating at that point. But then they're dead men in the water, and it's just a horrible skid of they just have a tough.
They play good teams down
they
the
just
end
have a
too.
tough schedule at the end. So
Yep. So
unless they start hot in like the way that you have,
which is I think they've always
and they can.
fired out of the freaking gates,
and they can. I just have us getting it together.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Again, my whole thing is going to show me because even in the years where you guys are really good, you make the title games, yada yada yada. Every single year, the first 5 to 8 weeks, it's sort of like, why the hell are they 500?
No,
and
I
then
get
they
it,
just
I get it.
heat up.
Yeah.
By the way, I have you heating up faster than usual.
Appreciate it.
I just think that the 2 games early, it's like those 2 know them well, and they already they give them problems.
No, I totally get it, and I'm obviously being facetious and like full of myself and like, hey, let's go Bengals, like yeah, like we're gonna sweep everybody except I'll give Pittsburgh 1 game.
Yeah, I got the same deal.
Yeah, I was like, I'll give Pittsburgh 1 game, but we sweep the rest. But
listen, I don't even think it's begrudgingly respecting Pittsburgh. I think you just respect Pittsburgh.
I respect Pittsburgh.
Yeah, okay.
It's not even.
I think Baltimore's
it's like oh whatever Pittsburgh. Like no, I genuinely.
Pittsburgh is genuinely a respectable franchise.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to be a dickhead. Like I'll be a dickhead to the Browns. Like,
Yeah.
I'll be
You
a dickhead to the
begrudgingly
Ravens.
respect Baltimore. You don't respect the Browns.
Absolutely.
And you just respect the Steelers. Because
Yeah.
any objective fan in this league respects what the Steelers are.
Absolutely. It's a pinnacle of excellence, and I got to give it to them. So I'm not going to sit here and talk my talk and run my mouth.
And speaking
they
of...
could take one at any moment.
Yeah.
So.
And speaking of Pittsburgh, let's get into them.
Yep.
Week 1, they got the 49ers at home. They beat the 49ers.
You haven't beaten them week 1.
The 49ers do the same thing as you. They go through about the first 5 games
just kind of
to warm up.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
They could beat Pittsburgh because I think they're better than Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh's a team that the last 2 years, their week 1 opponents, Buffalo and Cincinnati, and they beat them both. We're in that. Those are 3 teams, Buffalo, Cincinnati, and San Francisco, that are all Super Bowl contenders. Pittsburgh can beat them all. Pittsburgh starts fast, and this game's at home. So
Yeah.
I think they steal it.
I'll give it to the Niners.
Fair enough.
Especially like things will change. Like if Brock Purdy is actually
Tell me who's playing.
if he's actually at 100%, I think that they're just a well-oiled machine enough. That,
They are.
And by keeping Purdy in, which I really hope is the case. Like I really hope he's 100%. I really hope he's your starter.
He won't play in the preseason though.
He won't put no hell no.
So rest.
Rest up. I do think he'll be a little bit rusty, but his game's not. He's not who wins the game for the
No,
Niners.
but none of them are.
Yeah, he plays well. And they win because the defense takes over, and they, a couple of stops on Kenny Pickett, and all of a sudden you're up by 14, or by 10.
I'm not so worried about the Steelers' offense. I just think that Brock Purdy's not going to play at all. He's going to be rusty, or if he's not, it's another quarterback playing. And the 49ers, the last 2 years, they just start slower.
Yeah, and I think it's possible, and I'm not knocking the Steelers by this, as you're about to see.
Yeah.
I just have the Niners winning because I think.
They're good.
I'm gonna give the Niners the Super Bowl contender nod.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
I just think that, my knowledge is the same. My logic is the same thing as the Bengals. Some teams just trend different at the start of the year. Week 2, Cleveland, they beat Cleveland.
I have them. Okay, I'm about to go on a run. I have them beating Cleveland, beating the Raiders, beating the Texans, beating the Ravens.
I got them beating Cleveland, beating Vegas, beating Houston, losing Baltimore. Because again, this is just the time of year where I got Baltimore peaking. And then they go into the bye, so they go into the bye 4-1.
Yep.
Beat the Rams. I think Jacksonville beats them.
Oh, I'm with you.
Thoughts on that? Okay.
No, I'm with you. All right. So, they beat the Rams, and then Jacksonville, I think, takes it from
All right. And then I got Tennessee. They beat them.
Yeah, I think
Green Bay.
did I have... Do you remember?
I don't remember yours.
Fuck, I wish you'd paid more attention.
How dare I? How dare I have mine written down?
Yeah, I need to make sure I do that next time. Yeah, I got. I'm gonna give it to the Steelers on this one. If I'm contradicting myself, we'll find out later. But
fair enough.
I'll go with whatever. After that, I'll find out whatever I said first towards the Titans. I'll stick with.
Yeah, all right,
So,
fair enough.
But I'll give it to the Steelers now.
All right, and then they beat Green Bay.
Yep.
I think they lose in Cleveland, and they lose in Cincinnati.
I'm gonna give them the Cleveland win for the sweep,
Yep.
and then I'm gonna give them the loss to Cincinnati.
Yep.
But wait, which one it's at? Yeah, I'm gonna.
It's in Cincinnati,
Yeah,
so I think
say
they,
that.
even though they won there last year, that was the week 1 thing. I think in Cincinnati they take it off them.
Joe Burrow 4 interceptions is not common.
No,
Yeah.
I mean my God,
And the fact that we were even in that
dude,
game.
if that happens against Cleveland, holy shit.
Oh, God.
That's good. You want to talk about? They're going to be talking about zero. They're going to be like 0 touchdowns. That'll be what it'd be. All right, week 13. They'll beat Arizona.
They beat Arizona, they beat the Patriots,
Yep.
and they beat the Colts.
They beat the Colts,
Yep.
and then this is where I give them the split. They win the home game against Cincinnati.
I'll give them the home game against Cincinnati.
Yeah, I think that they lose in Seattle.
I think they beat Seattle.
Yep, I think that they're a better team than Seattle.
Yeah.
But I just knowing and having to watch so many games in that building. That building is nasty.
Sure.
And I don't think Kenny Pickett's that damn good.
I don't think he's him, but
Yeah.
I do think that
I think he's good enough to beat a lot of teams. But
he's almost a Mac Jones level quarterback in my
Yeah.
opinion, and like the best
But
you're going to be
better
is Tannehill.
supported right
yeah,
now.
exactly. He's got
Yep.
got more to work with. They did build up the O line a little bit more, which is what you want.
That's
to see.
good.
Yep, that's good stuff. And the defense is the defense. Like yeah.
Instead of a steel curtain, time for a steel wall. The picket fence.
Picket fence.
That's what people have been calling it. That's what they're calling the Steelers. Time to build the picket fence.
It's like,
Yeah.
all right.
And then week 18, I got them beating Baltimore at the end.
I got them beating Baltimore at the end too, but I think I have them doing immensely well. I could see a lot of splits, so I could see the Ravens pulling one off earlier.
I've got them 12-5.
I think I've got them like 13-4 or something like that, which is really high.
You better hope not.
Yeah, which I don't like, but
I feel like maybe
out of respect. So let me look at it really quickly.
Yeah.
So you know what? No, I'm gonna stick to what I had. So I'm gonna go Niners, take the dub, and then they
just stick with it.
Yeah, no, I'm
Trust me, he's gonna have Cincinnati going like 16-1 at this point.
17-0.
Well, you can't do that because you gave them the Bengals win.
Contradicting is
Okay.
kind of what I do, but so yeah, I've got them 4-1, 6, excuse me, 5-1, 5-2, 6-3, 7-3, 8-3, 8-4, 11-4.
Yeah, you got them winning out then.
I've got them. Yeah.
Yeah, you got them 13-4.
Yeah, I do have them 13-4.
All right. Well, it looks like Cincinnati is going to be 14-2, I guess. All right. So on to the Bengals.
Yeah, baby. It's a good day.
I'll get through my first two real quick because we already know I got them starting 0-2, losing at Cleveland and losing against Baltimore.
Sure.
Because they're a slow starter.
Sure.
That is catching two teams that already sort of have.
They played the Bengals well.
Yeah.
We'll say that.
Like, especially Cleveland and Baltimore is just like, when Baltimore's healthy, they're of a similar level to them, and they just start faster.
Sure.
And you got them 2-0 in there.
Yep.
All right. Rams, they win that game.
Yeah.
They beat Tennessee.
Yep.
They beat Arizona.
Yep.
They beat Seattle.
Yep.
And they got a bye.
Yep. And then we go to the Niners.
I've got you beating San Francisco.
I think we
For
beat San
one reason and
Francisco,
one
too.
reason alone, it's out of your bye.
Yeah, I think out of the bye, we get a little bit of rest. We get a good opportunity to check
Not
guys
to
out.
mention, San Francisco's been on a 2-game road trip going into that game.
Yeah. So and they just played Cleveland coming out of their bye, which I do think they still pull off, but I think this is kind of where it's just fatigue.
This is just timing for me.
Yeah.
I won't be shocked. Listen, I'll put it like this. Your O-line's good. It ain't that good that San Fran can't just eat you.
Oh, I get that.
So it's possible.
But I think that's what we plan for in that bye week. Is
You'd hope so. But that's what I'm saying. This is
crossed.
why I don't like people always getting my damn team out of the bye.
It's fair.
When you come out of the bye, you just have more time.
Mm-hmm.
So I got you beating San Fran.
I got us winning too.
Yep, I think you beat Buffalo in a close one.
Yeah, no disrespect to Buffalo at all. And at any moment they could pull it off, and maybe they get some revenge for that. For
I won't be
playoffs,
shocked either way, but like I said, I got the three top teams in the AFC just going bang, 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 bang. It's like
Pretty
a
much.
rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, but I have us beating the Bills.
All right, Houston, you win.
Yep.
In Baltimore at this time of the year, you win.
Yep.
Pittsburgh win.
Pittsburgh does win.
Pittsburgh beats you. No, you beat Pittsburgh. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I got
Yeah.
the opposite of Pittsburgh takes one off of us.
Okay. At Jacksonville, you win.
Oh, excuse me.
You got Pittsburgh winning the later game.
In week 16, so
Yep.
yeah, we're winning. We're winning this one.
Jacksonville, you win.
Yep.
Indy, you win.
Yep.
Minnesota, you win.
Yep.
Pittsburgh, you lose.
Yep.
Kansas City, you lose.
Nope.
Cleveland, you win.
Yeah, I've got us going 16-1.
Yeah, bullshit. Bullshit.
No, we're going 16-1.
No, you're fucking not.
Yes, we are.
You're so not.
Oh, this is a cakewalk schedule.
You're 13-4 for me, and I think that is more realistic.
I think. Oh, I respect the 13-4. I nod my head. I tip my cap. I thank you for it.
It's the nicest I've been.
We're going 16-1.
You're so fucking.
I think we lose one game to the Steelers because there's no way we go undefeated.
So not
and
true.
I think if any team gets us, it's them. I do think absolutely the Chiefs can fucking pull it off. I think the Bills can pull it off. I think the Ravens can absolutely pull one off. So I'm not gonna sit here and act like we're 100% going 16-1.
You got like 6 swing games in this schedule, and you're just
think-
giving them 5 of them to you.
Absolutely, it's nice enough I took one as an L. Yeah. So
Yeah.
and then I think
The games that are swing games
and I will
for
also
you.
say that if we are at that point 15-1, I think we comfortably have first seed in our possession at that point. I think we do bench our starters and lose to the Browns. So I will say 15-2. How about that?
Oh, that's generous.
Is that a little bit nicer?
That's generous.
Yeah, a little bit more realistic.
That's
for
so
you?
ridiculous.
Yeah, we go 15-2 because we bench our starters and we say, all right, Cleveland, you can beat our backups to feel a little bit better about.
I mean,
fact that
listen, there are too many
third.
potential spots for you to trip, and you guys aren't that much better than everybody.
I'm not saying that we're that much better than everybody. I believe in my quarterback more than everybody else's.
It's fair. Believe in them.
Joe Burrow, Body Armor's newest representative.
There you go.
Did you watch that video, by the way?
No.
Oh, I'll send it your way. It's
I'll tell you.
hilarious.
Here are the games that I can see you dropping that I gave you.
Okay.
First of all, there's every possibility San Fran and Buffalo both beat you.
Sure.
I think it's possible Tennessee does it. I'm not picking it, but Tennessee is the team that just like anytime they play a contender, they tend to just beat you up.
They play up.
Yep.
They fight up.
So Tennessee could do it. Baltimore, if they're not beaten, can do it at any time. And Jacksonville could.
Yep.
I don't think you win all those. I think you win most of them, obviously. You're not going for 15-2.
15-2.
You're so not.
15-2, and the only reason we lost
You are
the
not
second
that-
game is because we gave it to Cleveland as a pity vote.
No chance.
Yeah, whatever. We're winning.
I guess you're winning the AFC North, but you ain't winning it that way.
We're winning it all, baby.
If you go 15-1 and then just get immediately knocked out of the playoffs,
Be a rough day. It'd be a real rough day.
imagine that. I can see it. You go 17-0,
I'm a Dodgers
and then
fan. I'm
out of
used to that kind of
nowhere,
pain.
just wham.
I am a Dodgers fan. I'm used to that kind of pain.
Yeah,
Regular season's great, and then we fucking blow it. So
true.
I will concede that absolutely those swing games could go in either. I'm not gonna say in either direction, but it is possible that we lose a couple of those. But confidently speaking, looking at the schedule and just sitting here a month out from the season starting, where we're not predicting when injuries are gonna happen.
How devastated are you going to be if that's your team this year? That just the injury bugs, like we're going to hang out here this year.
It would suck. But at that point, it's almost like whatever.
No, I know. Trust me, I
it's
get
like-
it. But there's always one great team each year where it's just
Yeah.
like, ooh,
I'm hoping it's Kansas City.
yeah.
I'm really hoping it's
Well,
Kansas City.
yeah,
Or
well-
the Eagles. I'd even say Eagles. Like, you guys have had it too good for too long.
I kind of want it to be the Eagles. I also really want them to be feeling good to get their ass kicked.
I'm fine with either.
But-
I'm literally fine with either.
Yeah.
But I would love it if they just were depressed all season long, as opposed to just depressed for 2 weeks at the end of the season.
That'd be great. That'd be nice.
Wouldn't it be?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be?
I mean, listen, I'm all for pain for a lot of fan bases. But
Oh, you and me
I
both.
love it if it's Seattle. Not even because I think they're going to be great anyways, but just because I would just laugh.
I hope your $250 million quarterback with 25 sexual assault charges gets a 26th.
I wonder what team that would be.
Yeah. I wonder who. Steelers,
I just feel bad.
have a good season.
yeah.
Ravens,
Just be yourself, Pittsburgh. We like you.
It's like I think we can beat you, which is why I'm giving you the respect. Ravens, hope it fucking goes to hell.
I hope it's bad in week one.
I hope it's bad from the get-go.
That's how we hope. It's like I hope training camp is just the worst.
I hope J.K. Dobbins goes down with injury again. I hope it's not. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, serious injury.
Just
but
mean.
I think it'd be absolutely hilarious.
Tomorrow, now that you've said all this, we're just going to get that notification. Jamar Chase goes down with a non-contact knee injury.
Why would you even say that?
Because that's just
All right, Nick Bosa,
he's not even practicing right now.
good because he's about to get hurt.
Good.
But I will say I'm fairly confident in this team this year. I think that's justified.
You should be confident in them. I just think 15-2 is
15-2, baby.
15-2 is not confidence. That's arrogance.
Well, that's kind of what I do. We're Bengals fans.
We're Bengals fans.
The Bengals.
We talk a lot.
The Bengals players are arrogant. So are we.
I'm gonna get you that Browns jersey.
Absolutely. Browns jersey. Ugh.
No, I'm gonna get you a Bengals jersey that says 0 rings.
It's just fucked up.
Wouldn't that be fun?
You see, you would get me that the year we win.
Yeah,
so then
and you'll love it. You'll frame it at that point. You'll be like,
I'll literally be like, I was like,
can you give me a new one of these each year?
I'm gonna get it signed. I'm gonna literally go to Cincinnati on a team meet and greet, and I'm gonna hold it up and be like, my asshole friend gave me this jersey, and then we won it all. Can you sign the shit out of this and just? I want to frame it. Like never again, baby, never again.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm fairly confident in my football team to the point of arrogance. I will concede that. I feel like we've earned it. This is a hell of a roster. I mean, and to be fair, when the NFL media is talking about your quarterback as the second best quarterback in the league, you're gonna have a little bit of arrogance. Personally, I think it's Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Burrow all there at the top. And
I hate some of these rankings. I think I've more come to the idea of I like tier lists.
Sure.
Because I think that part of the only way to have that conversation realistically is if you're like, if we just switch them around, what are they looking like? Or like, who's capable of what? Because all these dudes have different situations. I do this with coaches also.
Sure.
Where it's like, everybody's talking about Andy Reid's the best coach ever. Stuff like that. He's an awesome coach, but it's like, if you took his guy, if you took Mahomes and started moving him to a couple of teams, like there's a couple of coaches that are just as damn good. They just don't have that dude.
Yeah.
Like, so I think that what's more realistic is like, okay, who is in the same group?
Exactly.
Because they're all damn close.
That's the way I look at it. Is there's an elite tier of quarterback, and the fact that Joe Burrow is in that conversation, I'm content with. So it's really hard for me to be, he's the best quarterback in the league because every quarterback in that conversation for best in the league, Josh Allen, Mahomes,
all
Burrow,
win every single time.
Absolutely. So, what I would like to see is eventually Joe Burrow get his MVP because I feel like that's a really important milestone in one of these quarterbacks. I think Josh Allen deserves one too.
I think Joe Burrow or Josh Allen will win it this year, unless Mahomes just goes crazy. It's tough to win back to back unless you just freaking.
I think on the Vegas trip because I'm gonna find a way to go.
Yeah.
Because I am a degenerate. So we're, you're not invited, but we have a planned Vegas trip, us two and a couple of our buddies, and one of the first things we do when we get there, like 7 a.m., we go straight to the BetMGM sportsbook, and we put down prop bets for that game or what we have going on. I do a couple parlays. I think I'm gonna drop like $200 on Joe Burrow to win MVP. And go back to Vegas if he does win it and absolutely party my ass off. But
there you go.
MVP means nothing if we can't get a ring with it, and that's the ultimate goal of this team at the end of the season.
Yep.
I think this is one of the best Bengals teams that the league has potentially seen. Now
it's up there. It'd be up there with the old ones that made the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
Didn't win, but like that's the only other time this team has been like.
I think
Super Bowl. There's been exactly two stretches in their history where they're Super Bowl caliber, and this is one of them.
Yeah, and so you know what? Why not get high on my own supply?
Yeah.
So
you might be overdosing.
I'm overdosing,
but you're high.
But I'm high, baby. I'm going to enjoy the high until the crash comes, and hopefully it never comes.
Hopefully it's not what. Hopefully for your sake, it's not what I say, and you just start off 0-2.
And even if we do start off 0-2, I still think we'll be fine. But
I agree. I had them going fine too, but I'm like, you want to talk about how you will no longer be high?
Yeah, that's a great way to bring me back down to reality, which happened last year. So. I'm very excited for how the season's going to go.
Yeah, and overall, the AFC North, I've got all four of them going winning. I've got Bengals 13-4, Steelers 12-5, Ravens and Browns both go 10-7.
I've got Ravens at a.
You don't remember
6-11.
Yeah,
if I remember right. I've got the Browns maybe 10-7. Steelers 13-4.
Maybe 10.
Yeah. And then I've got the Bengals obviously at a crisp 15-2.
There's no way that either of those teams go 13-4 or 15-2 for the very simple fact they play too many good teams.
I like to think optimistically.
No, I know, but I'm saying I think that I'm not saying I'm correct either. I'm saying that a lot of the good teams that I have coming out with like really pristine records.
Sure.
And the truth of it is, I would favor them in a lot of these games, but when you play enough good teams and in like enough succession, you drop some.
Yep.
And so I do think most of these teams end up being like winning records, and I think Cincinnati is the best of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I won't be shocked at all if it's impossible for the Bengals or the Steelers or the Chiefs or the Bills or whoever to get the top seed, because when you just have a tough enough run, it just becomes like a numbers game. And this is why I think Jacksonville is like a sleeper number 1 seed potentially. I don't have them getting it, but if there's a team that just like, if they just steal 1 or 2, it's like, ooh, all of a sudden the rest of that schedule really opens up for you.
Yeah, and I won't even deny it. I think Jacksonville, if they are what we think they are, absolutely has that opportunity to play spoiler to these top 3 AFC teams that everyone's kind of decided, okay, these are the top 3 elite, get through one of these teams to get to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
It's either the Bengals, Chiefs, or the Bills. I don't know. Maybe Jacksonville has the perfect formula for what they're trying to do, and Doug Peterson coming in and working with a young Trevor Lawrence, who is, in my opinion, one of the best young quarterbacks in the league right now.
He is.
Who fucking knows? And that's the beauty of football.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so it's because here's the thing. Last year, none of us were talking about a man named Brock Purdy. And then now here we are.
Even we weren't.
Yeah, and now here we are saying, oh my God, he's healthy. Thank God.
Thank God, dude.
Yeah, exactly. So
my guy.
It is crazy. No,
Mr. Relevant is back.
I would love a throwback Niners Purdy jersey just for funsies.
Yeah.
If he ends up being like a long-term starter for you guys. But it'll be interesting.
You never know.
That's one of the storylines we'll follow this week.
Yeah, I will be. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I keep seeing people saying like everybody's already loves projecting the Super Bowl and all that, and you see the same like combinations of 5 teams essentially, where it's essentially KC, Cincy, or Buffalo gets out of the AFC,
and then
Eagles,
Niners,
and Eagles. I'm like, oh my God! First of all, if it's Niners Bengals, we're gonna hate each other.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna be a huge problem.
It'll be a massive problem.
Yeah. And
we cannot be in the same room.
I maintain if it's Niners Bills, I will be still an intense son of a bitch, but I will be less angry in any scenario.
Sure, I agree.
Chiefs, I'm gonna be real pissy.
If it's Chiefs Bengals in the AFC Championship again, I'm gonna be fucking pissed.
You're like, God damn it!
I would much rather it be Bills or Bills and Bengals.
I think we can all agree Buffalo is just inherently more likable.
Exactly. Yeah, like if we lose, it'd be a fucking gut wrenching moment.
Oh God
damn it! Like this team is so good, and we can't get it the fuck done. Still.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah. Whatever.
Dealing with this since 2019.
Yeah, sure. But I can root for Josh Allen to hopefully go in there and potentially get a ring. And if it is Bills-Niners, then for me it's a win-win. Like either Josh Allen gets a ring,
it's Chiefs-Eagles again,
and the Bills pull it off. Oh God, if it's Chiefs-Eagles,
I can't think of anything more unlikable.
I went to a freaking Super Bowl party and I was so depressed.
I tell you what.
I'm not good, dude. If it's Eagles Chiefs again,
it's the first time in years where I've been like, God, they both are just the worst.
I've never been like that. Like,
I did root for Kansas City.
See, I root for the Eagles because
well, you and I.
You hate the Eagles and I hate Kansas City, so it was kind of like whatever at that point.
It's easier to root for the team in the other conference.
Exactly. Like, no, I'm the same way of like, it is what it is. But yeah, no, personally, I realized like as like okay, the Super Bowl's locked in. It's gonna be Chiefs Eagles. Like for 2 weeks, I was like.
Oh, dude.
I was like, why can't I just enjoy the
I've literally never been excited.
No, I was not excited at all. Could not find any reason to enjoy what was coming.
No, and even the game, I fucking hate
and even during the game, I went with my now ex-girlfriend at the time. We our family went over to another family's Super Bowl party, and I was hanging out with the guys. Like I was hanging out with her dad, I was hanging out with her dad's friend. Yeah, I was like, we were drinking, we were watching football, and I'm just like. God. I was like, fuck, I hate this.
I know.
I was like, I'm so unhappy right now.
I was hanging out with some people too, and I was just the whole time.
I put a couple bets in so I could maybe enjoy it.
This was my face for the entire game.
I was so annoyed.
Just right at the screen the whole time, just like. Ugh.
I know both of us were just like.
Motherfucker!
I think I would have rather had it be Bengals Niners.
Well, of course.
And lost, than and I'm sure you're probably thinking the same thing because at least then it would have been fun. Like,
I don't know.
It
It would
would've-
a good time.
I don't know, but like, maybe, I don't know, maybe if we had lost on better terms, because you lost because
I was about to say, listen.
and I lost because of the refs.
If we would have played a football game, essentially,
Maybe it
would have been
fun.
way easier for me
Yeah.
to stomach it.
Yep.
But the way it happened, hell no.
No, I get it completely. Like, same
Listen,
way,
I'll
I was
say- I'll put it like this.
If we had lost, I would have been like, fuck.
Listen, dude, I'll put it like this. I would rather have lost even the way we did in the NFC Championship than imagine if that was the Super Bowl and immediately our quarterback's arm gets hurt. When I tell you, I would have never been more depressed about a sports game.
Oh god, I think that would have been the worst.
It'd be the worst
experience
Super Bowl ever.
Yeah. Oh, if you just watched Mahomes walk briskly into a Super Bowl win, or Joe Burrow get one off of a technicality.
I mean, even, like, seriously, how...
I wouldn't have
You'd
felt
obviously
that.
be happy.
I'd be
But
happy.
you know that literally the whole offseason and basically his whole
Did we earn
career.
it? Did we earn it?
Even the whole,
Yeah,
even the
exactly.
rest of his career, everyone would be like, that first one.
doesn't really count.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yeah, you got your ring and it's in the history books, and you know the Bengals won a Super Bowl,
But-
so no more 0 rings talk. But
Yeah.
did you earn it? And especially like if that
That'd
was
be-
the only one,
It'd be so annoying
oh
to you.
yeah, oh it would be the
Because
I'd be like, we won
you
the
would've
Super
won the
Bowl, and
Super
I
Bowl,
can't even feel
and
like we won
literally
it. Yeah.
everyone's going to be like,
Did you? Did you? Like, or especially like if it was only by like,
I know that's how Eagles fans are feeling right now. It's literally every single person is just like, you didn't really.
yeah, you didn't really get to the Super Bowl.
You
And
didn't really
and-
win the
And if they
conference.
had won, like, then I'd still be like, okay, well then,
Congrats, dude.
yeah, like the Niners would have pulled it off too. Then.
I know.
So.
We'll see, but yeah.
You know, that's the beauty of football. I mean, the fact that
the beauty, the bullshit.
the fact that I put so much of my mental health riding on a game that I have no control over. and
oh,
then-
God, it's bad.
It's bad. It's really bad. And then I put my financial status into it as well with a little bit of betting here and there. So I'm really glad I'm not an MLB bettor because
Yeah.
for me, I just know too much about football that I feel like I know everything and I can't make these
Feel
bets.
confident
And
about
granted,
putting
yeah,
my
and
money
granted,
down.
exactly. But like with baseball, I'm like, dude, some of these I really do want to do it on, and then I'm like, oh, I'm a degenerate. I should probably stop.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, that's the beauty of what we do. We get a chance to watch 20 weeks of a sport, and it ruins my life unless everything.
And then
goes
it's
exactly
over,
the way I want.
and then it's over, and then
I
we
want
can't
it
wait
back.
for it to be back.
Exactly. I'm like, I'm ready to get hurt again. Baby.
Exactly. It's the Michael Scott meme every time.
Absolutely.
No doubt about it.
I am ready to get hurt
again. All right. Well, that was the predictions for the AFC South and AFC North. Next time, we're bouncing over to the NFC,
Yep.
East and West, which, again, East and West tends to be better in both conferences right about now.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll get to that next time. And, yeah, thanks for tuning in.
Peace.